Oh, hold on one second. What am I not?
No, I got your picture. I got the picture up.
All
We
right.
are live. Nelson, hit it, please. Good morning, everybody. We get the graphics up. Man, I tell you what, technology is such a great thing. I seem to mess it up all the time, but I don't care. The whole idea is what we got to do here today and what we do every Friday morning. And we've been doing it for 350 weeks in a row. Today is episode 354 with a man I've gotten to know this way over the last number of years, David Radney. David is the CEO and founder of Push. And we got to put that up. Sorry, I lost that for a second. Push, which is prospect until success happens, which is really cool because a lot of people keep going and they just decide that, oh shit, I'm going to quit.
Yep.
Look, we'll talk about that as we move forward. And Dave, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Nelson, hit the video. We know all real estate agents want to acquire clients consistently so that they can grow their business and income for that great lifestyle. This broadcast brings you the best and top people in the industry to support that quest. This is Dave Finale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk-TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and Align, your premier real estate solution. Good morning, everybody. Again, my name is David Finale, and this is Real Estate Talk TGIF. And I am very privileged to have met and worked with many people. As you saw in the intro, you had Chet Black, Pipes, Ferry, Grant Wise as well, and of course Brett Sikora, who I work with on a daily basis. And I've been so privileged to work with great people. And today is no different than any other day. We have Mr. David Radney. David, you know, we've had a trend over the past few weeks. We've had Nikki Pius, who's a conversion coach. A couple of weeks before, we had John Reyes, who talked about how he used his marketing expertise over the years, because he had a marketing company, into going back into production as a real estate agent. Now he outshines everybody else just by being different.
Right.
Your prospecting stuff, your scripts and dialogues, your sessions that you do are second to none, especially here because, you know, I'm lucky enough to have you here in New Jersey. So David, you know, you're a seasoned real estate professional, over 15 years of experience, built up your business with no local network after you moved from Dallas to New Jersey. Why? I don't know, but you did. Quickly built his business by mastering prospecting techniques and scripts. David's expertise led him to mentor agents. In 2020, he founded Push, a successful training program designed to help agents achieve stability and growth in the industry. David's passionate about fostering supportive community through his coaching programs and mindset calls. Dedicated husband and father, emphasizes the importance of a healthy work-life balance for himself and his agents, as well as just enjoying his life to the fullest. And, you know, we'll talk a little bit about that, but man, that's a lot. And I'm excited to talk to you again. This is your second time on. I don't remember the date. Nelson's going to get that for us, but we'll know when you're a couple of years ago. But this is episode 354. Thanks so much for coming, man.
I'm so happy to be here, and it feels like it's my third time. It might be the second time, man, but
it might be your third. You know what? We're going to check on that. I mean, it's a lot. I think it is your third time.
It's been a long time, though.
Right after COVID.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Anyway, so David, I have a question that I ask everybody that joins the broadcast, and it's really simple. It's, what does TGIF stand for?
Well, for me, oh boy, for me, thank God it's Friday. I hope that's what it stands for.
Well, it does, but really not for the broadcast. It's Real Estate Talk TGIF. Thank God it's finale. You know, it just has to go that way, and that's the way it is. You know?
Listen, I love it.
All right, man. Here we are, David. I read a nice bio of you, and it just really scratches the surface about David Radney. David, talk to me about your journey and let everybody know. The reason I asked this question, a lot of people say, well, I say this, you know, Dave, you ask this all the time. Yeah, it is, because it's important for people to see that you started without any network. You start without any SOI in the area, right? Yeah. And that is important because a lot of people say, well, I don't know anybody. Guess what? I got back into production a number of months ago and I said, all my friends are real estate agents. I don't know anybody.
Yeah.
So I've taken all this stuff personally, so I have to learn how to do it too. So talk to me about your journey.
Yeah. So you mentioned that I moved from Dallas to New Jersey, and you're like, I don't know why. Well, my wife, Michelle's in pharmaceuticals, and she got a great promotion. So I support my wife to the fullest. And that's the beauty about real estate. We can move anywhere and start our business over again. However, Jersey was a bit of a challenge because I'm used to Dallas, new home construction. I didn't really have to work that hard to make a really good income. In New Jersey, I had to learn different neighborhoods and cities and different styles of homes.
Right.
And I didn't know one person in New Jersey. So like, where do you get your business from? I had to go back to the basics, man. I had to start finding people that had their hands raised, like for sale by owners and expireds, to start bringing in some immediate business. But then I also had to learn how to show people who I am so they could get to know me, which is one of the reasons I post so much on social media, because people like to work with people they know. So I had to let people get to know me, which was really uncomfortable for an introvert like me to put myself out there in the beginning. And now it's so easy to do because I'm so conditioned to do it every day.
Yeah, so you mentioned social media, so we can just talk about that and start there. I mean,
Yeah.
you're a well-rounded individual. Nature is really your thing. Photography is really big for you. I love all the stuff you put out there. But in 2012, social media wasn't like it is today,
No,
right? So you had to come and you had to make the calls, as you said, for sale by owners, expireds, and stuff.
that's right.
How did it take you a while for people that you didn't know to contact you?
It happened sooner than I thought it would because the Facebook that I was using back in the day was like my personal Facebook page. I didn't have a professional one. So of course I'm meeting people because my daughters are in school and I'm meeting people just in town. And what I started doing purposely was every day going to properties and doing previews and posting up content and talking about these homes in these neighborhoods. And Dave, you know this, people's perception is their reality. I never
Yeah.
said they were my listings. I'm just showing listings that were for sale. But when people in town started seeing me at houses all the time, their perception was, hey, this guy's killing it. I'm always seeing him at a property talking about a home. And they started calling me and creating opportunities for me. So
Hey, David, I'm so glad you just said that. You know, people talk about, well, what do I post? I don't know anybody. I don't like social media. Hey, you know what? A lot of times, maybe you don't even have to be on camera. You don't have to do it. Maybe at worst a voiceover, right?
Yep.
But one of the things you said is so important. You just started posting houses, posting real estate, and
Yes.
people believed what they saw because let's face it, they're just as vain as we are, and they're thinking, "Oh, geez, look what he's doing! Look at all these businesses." They didn't think, and that's a perception that you put out there
Yep.
that makes so much sense for us, especially new agents, right?
Of course.
And how did that turn out as things went on? How did it move forward?
So I will tell you this, it just snowballed. I remember getting my first call from a parent, and I lived in Wyckoff, New Jersey. Hey, Dave, I see you killing it out there. My mother's house in Fairlawn expired. Can you help her sell her home? And I'm like, of course I can. And from there, it just snowballed to all these opportunities coming to me because once you help one person and they can talk about how well you did, the people they know are going to reach out to you for more work. And so I will tell you this, Dave, the reason I feel like it did snowball and things started to happen for me, I didn't just post real estate. I let people get to know me. So you saw me on vacation, you saw me cooking, you saw me hiking, I share my photography. And people are like, man, this is kind of cool. Let me see what this guy's all about. Oh, and he does real estate. So it really just helped open me up to a lot of people in town when they got to know me.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things I want people to know about where you were and what you did. Number one, Wyckoff, New Jersey. Actually, I work out of an office in Wyckoff now. I grew up in Franklin Lakes. I know Bergen County like it's the back of my hand.
Yeah.
But I will tell you one thing that's very interesting about northern New Jersey, northeastern New Jersey, most cynical, most skeptical people in the world, right? If you talk to lead generators throughout the country, this is the part of the country that's the most difficult for all these great lead generators that can get you 5 listing appointments in 36 seconds, right? It ain't working here, right? It's very tough. This is a very tough area, very tough attitude. Believe me, I know. If you know me, you know how to agree. You will agree with me.
Absolutely.
So that was tough, and you had to get through that, right? You had, and then what you did, you posted everything. You posted educational materials, you posted houses, you posted your lifestyle. How important, David, is posting lifestyle like cooking and your hiking and your photography on social, especially today? How important is that?
I think it's extremely important because people want to work with people they actually like and people they have something in common with. And people get bored of seeing the same content over and over again. Even if you're really great on posting real estate content, they don't want to see that every single day. They want to see who you are and what you do. You know, my social media coach, Gary Vee, he says document versus create. And so that's what I do. I'm on this podcast with you and I'm recording it because I'm documenting what I do every single day. People want to see, what do you do outside of coaching to get the word out and show people who you are? So I show it to them. That's what they want to see.
Right. Right. What's really interesting, what you just said, is you're actually recording this for you, as I have another camera on me, right? Recording it as well.
Yep.
But this guys, I want everybody to understand it. This is what's called content creation.
Yes.
We're not doing anything different, right? Today, David, you can get probably, 3 pieces at least out of what we talk about today, as I will too. So the point is that everything is important. Like Gary Vee, you said, Vee said he has the $1.80 content creation system.
Yep.
Post your 2 cents 90 times a day.
And if only people did that.
Right. I mean, I can give you an example. My best example is a guy by the name of Kenny Trong, who is the founder and CEO of a team called the Fast Team out in the Bay Area in California. His stories, David, I mean, I don't know if there's 50 up a day or what there is, but he's built one of the largest teams at EXP through his, and it's all lifestyle. I'm going to tell you that 80% of it is lifestyle, what he's posting. The food. He did an unpacking of the food he just bought for his week in a box he got, right? I mean, who does that?
Yeah.
But people want to know what Kenny's doing, right? And it's so important. Let's go back to the basics now, right? So one of the things that we've got is agents will call it a tough market. Look, I'm going to tell you that the market is what you see and what you look at and how you perceive it, right? For me, there's nothing but opportunity out there today.
Agreed.
As it was during COVID, as it was last year, as it was when interest rates changed. It's an opportunity, right? And going back to basics is something I hear an awful lot. We believe what I do with agents I work with is we've got to make a schedule that works. We've got to make a working schedule at the same time. And one of the things I specialized in lately, which has been a lot of fun, is helping agents relieve the anxiety in their schedule. So when we talk about schedule, David, what's the important part for you?
So first of all, I believe that you should have 2 schedules, Dave. I believe that you have a morning schedule. So typically 8:30 until 12. That's for mindset, practicing scripts, lead generation, follow-up. And then that should feed your afternoon schedule where you're going on appointments, previewing property, writing contract, negotiating offers. And so you got to understand, as a realtor, you have 2 jobs, and taking care of pre-existing business never takes precedent over finding new business, which means protect your morning at all costs. To me, that's the biggest thing, Dave, is like learning how to time block and not letting anyone come in between you and making your money.
Yeah, I had a long conversation with a new agent today, earlier today. I do a planning and prep session every Friday morning. And, she was on her way to go look at a rental. And I said, let me ask you a question. How important is looking at that rental today? Is it more important than you picking up the phone and trying to have at least one conversation today with somebody?
Yeah.
She said, no, I guess not. And I talked about the same thing. Your morning is for lead gen. Your afternoon is for all the other stuff. And when I talked about anxiety, Dave, what I meant was so many people, we've got so much shit going on in our lives, family, kids, all different kinds of things. I mean, and I said to people, it says, look, I don't want you to get upset or to have anxiety during the day because, oh, geez, I got to pick up my daughter a half hour earlier today than I did yesterday. And I can't do this. Every night before you go to bed, I have it blocked in for an hour. It only takes me 5-10 minutes.
Right.
I look at my schedule and I say, okay, what do I have to do tomorrow? That's not I'm looking at.
Right.
So let me adjust everything. Now I'm going to bed without any anxiety. I know what I'm doing. I know who I'm calling aside from that. Talk to me about the planning part of the schedule.
Well, like you said, and you're telling everybody correct, it's the night before. That's when you plan. And I got this here. This is what I fill out every night. It's 10 bullet points. And I write down exactly what I need to do tomorrow. And everything that's on here is income producing activity, not busy work. So to your point with the young lady going to show the rental, yeah, you feel good because you're doing something, but is it moving the needle? Is it putting money in your pocket? If it's not, for me, it's not on this list. These are things that are going to feed my bank account. So for me, it starts the night before, and it's about getting clarity. And again, it's about protecting my schedule in the morning. The most important thing is that script practice I do, and then getting on the phone, and no call bias. I'm calling everybody, no matter what the conversation was like last week. If my job is to follow up this week, I'm calling you no matter what. That's the biggest thing with my schedule.
So, you know, I know it's important to know who you're going to call. I know it's important to plan for this.
Yeah.
What kind of tools or systems will support the agent in this journey?
You know, so I have a tough time answering this question because I believe the best tool is the one that you will actually use. And so some people, you know, you have all these great CRMs that if you're savvy will really help you. But then I know there's some people, if it's not on paper, they don't do it. So the best system is the one that you're going to use. For me, I use Vulcan 7 to get my for sale by owner and expired data. It had a phone dialer and they had a CRM so I could manage my leads. However, once I spoke to someone, Dave, and I knew that they were serious and I understood their motivation, they went into a tickler file. I had an accordion folder that had tabs 1 through 31. So if I talked to them today on the 14th and they said, David, call me in a week, their lead sheet went in on the 21st. And on the 21st, they got a call from me. I needed something in my face because I noticed that when my CRM was saying, call this person, I was snoozing and not necessarily do it, or I didn't even open my CRM. But when that accordion folder is sitting on your desk every morning, it's a big reminder of these are the people I need to call.
I think one of the important things that we have to remember too is that, like you said, you've got to be comfortable with it. You've got to be comfortable with the system you're using.
Yes.
Yours is paper. Mine is. I have done it for a long time. I've been pushing CRMs forever, right? And when I heard the phrase, the best CRM for you to use is the one that you will use, right? Mm-hmm. We heard that probably for about 10 years, right? Personally, I've got one that I use. It's Follow Up Boss, and I do everything there. Now, I also have a pad of paper. Like when I'm calling a for sale by owner, because let's have a conversation with that for sale by owner. I don't want that in my CRM because I haven't talked to them yet, and I don't want it to cloud shit up, right? Yes. So that's my system, and I'll go back and I will call them every day for about 2-3 weeks, and then if I don't get to them, I have to make a decision at that time, and also double check to make sure it's not been listed. To see what I do next, right? Is your process with whoever you're calling change between FSBOs, expired, circles, whatever it is? Does the process change?
What's changed? You mentioned earlier that people are saying the market is tougher. I just find that we have to make more calls and have more contacts to get the same business we were getting maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So the way the system has changed is I'm doubling down on the activities. I'm making more phone calls. I'm finding ways to get a hold of them versus just making a call. I'll send a text. I'll send a video text. If I can find them on social media, I'll send a DM. And more importantly, sometimes you just got to get off the phone and go door knock. Everybody is on the phone, but not knocking on the door and creating opportunities.
Now, when you talk about door knocking, are you talking about blanket door knocking or targeted door knocking?
Waste of time. Let me backtrack on that. I don't want to say it's a waste of time because I know there are people who build a strong business doing that. For me, it was a waste of time because I only wanted to talk to people with their hands raised. To me, for sale by owner, FSBO, fastest source of business opportunity. So I'm not going to go door knock a blanket street when I know there are people with their hands raised that have a home to sell. So my strategy was I'm going to go door knock that for sale by owner, create that opportunity. And since I'm already at your house, I'm doing the 5, 5, 10, which means I'm also going to door knock 5 houses on the left of you, 5 houses to the right, 10 across the street, because we know when one house goes on the market, typically another 1 or 2 homes in that same area go on the market. And I'm door knocking saying, who do you know that might be looking to sell in this neighborhood? If the person I'm door knocking is thinking of selling, guess what? They're going to say me. So that's how I door knock.
So that's very important. That's why I asked the question, because again, it door knocking, it works for a lot of people. I've never been a fan of it because I just think it's, having done it, I'm not going to talk about something I haven't done, but having done it by just blanketing an area, I have found that it did not work for me. It did not work in my area, North Jersey. Right. Who knows, right? I mean, you have people like that answer the door through the intercom, say, "Go away," but that happens all the time, right?
Absolutely.
So when you talk about when I talk about targeting door knock, I mean the FSBOs, I mean the expireds, even an expired that didn't sell 2 years ago. But the important part I think we want to understand is we need to know a little bit about that house before we walk in, or the area, and have something of value to give them. And that could be a list of houses available, right? Mm-hmm. All right. So we talked about door knocking. We talked about, so talk to me about, I want to talk about scripting. And one of the things that you do twice a week, David, is on Wednesdays at 5 p.m.
Correct.
Fridays at 8:30, you do a script practice.
Absolutely.
Right? Role play, right? Talk to me about what's important. Number one, what's important about your script practice that you do, role play, whatever you want to call it. I'm sorry. And what you exactly are doing.
Yeah. So what's important about it is giving people an opportunity to practice. Too many times we're practicing on our paycheck and we're waiting to go over our listing presentation until we get in front of an actual seller. That's the wrong time to practice. So I give people a safe space where they can come and practice their objection handling, their listing presentation. And I always say you sweat and practice so you don't bleed in war. And you're able to get feedback from people, right? And get out of your comfort zone, because people are operating in fear. They're not making the calls, not because they're afraid of rejection. They're afraid someone's going to say yes, and they don't know how to do a listing presentation. So what I do is give them an opportunity to see one, soup to nuts, hear the feedback, and also raise their hand and actually volunteer, because my job is to be the coach and mentor I needed when I started, Dave. And I didn't have someone who was pushing me, encouraging me, holding me accountable, giving me an opportunity where I could work on my skills and perfect my skills. And so that's what I do on Wednesday and Friday. And I don't charge for it. It's my way to contribution, give back, and help other agents.
Yeah, I'm sorry I walked off a camera because I just thought this is your third time, number 164 and 275. So I wanted to clear that up. Love it. As you get older, your eyesight isn't as good as it used to be.
Well, you tell it. I do not like driving at night nowadays, so I definitely hear you on that.
So I mean, that's why I apologize for interrupting you, but the script practice is really important. So what scripts are we talking about? What role play are we talking about, Dave?
So a lot of it we do, a lot of for sale by owners and expireds, because I am a listing focused coach. I don't really talk about working with buyers. I want to teach you how to go out and create listing opportunities. So we'll either do, hey, you're making a phone call. How do you open up the script? Hey, you're getting objections. How do you overcome the objection? Hey, you're sitting at the table at the listing presentation and they're saying, we need to think it over. How do you turn that around and close? And like today on Friday morning, we did a live listing presentation where the person went through the entire presentation and got feedback on how well they performed. So these are things that we do on Wednesday and Friday. And I have to tell you, what else are agents doing during that time? If they don't have the skills, they need to be plugged into these calls and learn how to get on the phones and create opportunities.
Yeah, the interesting part about people get into this business because they want to make a lot of money. That's one of the reasons. The other thing is they can make their own schedule. I'm not going to talk about schedule. Let's talk about money. People want to make a lot of money, which means they want to get paid very, very well.
Right.
So if you want to get paid very, very well, shouldn't you really be great at what you're doing and what you're saying, and how knowing what you're saying and how to shift those? And we always say the thing we use, if you want to get paid by like a pro athlete, you should practice like a pro athlete.
I love that you brought that up. You're right.
And most of the time, our practice is in front of people. Mm-hmm. And I mean, let me ask you a question, man. Do you think with all the practice that Aaron Rodgers did over his career, what could happen in the fourth play of the season 2 years ago, even though he practiced so much, that can happen. So you need to be prepared for what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that you're going to fumble or you're going to get hurt when you do it on the fourth time you do it. But see, it doesn't matter how much you practice. What matters is that you practice. That's the point I'm making. So I mean, there's always going to be things that come up. There's always going to be roadblocks or stuff that's thrown into the works to hold you back and to stop you. And now you need to be ready to adjust. You need to be ready to go forward, right? I mean, all these great athletes, you know, what are they doing 6 weeks before the season starts? They're practicing. What are they doing 6 minutes before the Super Bowl? They're practicing.
They're practicing. I saw a video recently with Michael Jordan. I shared it with my training program. He was being interviewed and they said, hey, tell me about that winning shot in game 6. And he said, that shot was nothing. You should have saw me at practice the night before. I nailed that shot 1,000,000 times. So I don't fear my skills because I practice. And so when that ball comes in my hand, I know I'm going to make that shot. And that's how we have to be as real estate agents. We have to practice the scripting, the objection handling, asking questions, closing till we can't get it wrong. And then when we're in front of a seller, it's like, oh, this conversation is easy. You should have saw my role play yesterday. My role play partner ripped me one. This seller is easy in comparison. That's how it should be.
Yeah. So they say practice makes perfect. I think practice makes confidence.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
I think it's really important. So David, we've talked about the importance of the scripts. We've talked about the importance of role playing, but let's talk about the script itself.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, I mean, there's a lot of great scripts out there that have been around for a very long time.
Sure.
Now, there's a manner in which to do them. And I've said this an awful lot lately, is it seems that when our agents, the agents we work with, get this piece of paper that says licensed real estate salesperson, they forget that they're a human being and that they're not talking like you and me. They change their octave, they change their tone, they change how they talk, they change their, I mean, well, all millennials have an upswing. Sorry, guys, but you know what I mean?
I do.
Talk to me about how do you get through to an agent that, hey, guys, it's okay to be you?
So I love that you brought this up. It just happened. We were doing a role play and the seller said to an agent, yeah, I'm selling my house because I just got a new job in Silicon Valley. I'm going to be a COO for a tech company. And the agent said, well, how soon do you have to be there? And I paused the role play and I said, hold on for a second. If you were just living your life and you met a complete stranger and they told you they got a big promotion as a COO, what would you say? They said, I would say, congratulations. And I said, so be a human and say, congrats. That's really great. Congratulations on the new job. You're not building rapport because all you're focused on is getting the listing instead of being a human and being part of the conversation you're having. People will open up more when you take time to highlight those things that they're sharing with you and write them down so that you can bring it up later in the conversation. You got to be human.
Absolutely. And as coaches, one of the things that we see when we're human with people, we're human with the agents, and we suggest they do something. To me, a lot of times, I'm so surprised that they actually do everything that I asked them to do, because it's like, I know this shit works. Yes. When I see them do it, it's like, yeah, let's go. Now I get excited. Yes. I come out with a passion. Look, passion is what's going to sell, and knowing what you're going to say and how to say it is really important. How to say it is one thing, which brings me back to the scripts, right? So, you know, it's really simple. Hi, this is Dave with eXp Realty. I saw that you're selling your home. If you have a few minutes, I've got a quick survey I'd like to talk to you about, or something like that, right? Whatever the script is. Right. But how do people get through using that script? That's a Mike Ferry Fizbo script, right?
Yep.
How do you get through not sounding like a salesperson?
You have to internalize the script. And so in my push training program, I have different lessons to teach you how to internalize it. So it's just part of your conversation. You just call, hey, this is David. I'm a local realtor. I'm calling about your property you have for sale. That is a script. Do I sound like I'm reading a script? No, but it's a script. And the reason, Dave, why it's so important to internalize the script, if you don't internalize it when the person's talking, you're so busy thinking about You're so busy thinking about how to actually reply that you're not listening to what they say. So you got to internalize the script and it makes you sound natural. So you got to practice it till you can't get it wrong.
Okay, so I want you to define
Yes.
internalize.
So for me, internalizing is, most people say memorize. When I say internalize, I mean I'm taking that script, I am memorizing it, but then I'm talking the way I talk. It's getting the same message out, but I've internalized the script. So it's part of my dialogue. So the way I talk, hey, Dave, I'm just calling about your house for sale by owner. Let me ask you, have you sold it yet? I'm using the same script, but it's internalized. So I'm speaking as if I would be speaking to anyone, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I really want to just push forward that, and something I said earlier is that even though you think you've internalized it, if you're sounding like that salesperson,
Yep.
stop it, right? Because you can talk like you just did, but still have that tone, that
Yeah.
edge to your voice. And it's just, most people don't notice it, right? Even in a lot of script practices, we see people talking like that and dialogues and role plays. And it to me, I don't know how to get people to internalize it, to say, just talk. Hey man, you and I are out. We're just having a conversation. We're just bullshitting about this, that, and the other thing. That's how I want everybody to talk to people, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, man, if they say they just got a new job or whatever it is, go through that. When I was talking about the excitement of getting agents to do stuff, I asked them about their family. I asked them how important that is to them, right? And you can do the same thing with a for sale by owner, the same thing with an expired.
Yeah.
And it sounds crazy to start, but why is that important to you? Or what's important to you about, right? These are simple questions that are in no scripts, but it shows that you care. Would you agree with that?
Well, I would agree with you. And I will tell you, they're in my scripts because I believe, like Zig Ziglar says, like when we call people, I take my sales hat off. I'm coming as a consultant and I'm coming to ask questions. I'm coming out of curiosity because I recognize a couple things. What Zig Ziglar said was, when you help enough people get what they want, you always get what you want. So I come from curiosity. So why are you moving to California? Why is that important to you? What will that do for you? Tell me a little bit more about that. And I lean in, even if I'm on the phone, I lean in. Oh, when you actually get there, how are you going to feel? Because I want them to open up and give me the emotional reason behind the move, because logic makes people think, emotion makes people act. So when I know to an emotional level why you're selling the house, I know what buttons to push when it's time for me to close. So it's all about coming from curiosity, in my opinion.
So, all right, you're absolutely correct. So what if the FSBO, the expired, whoever it is you're calling, says, that's none of your business?
Listen, I know, and you probably don't get these questions from a lot of people. The reason I'm asking you this question, like where you're moving to and why that's important to me, is every day I prospect to find buyers for my sellers. So I'm calling to see if you might be a buyer for one of the listings I have. So tell me, where are you moving to? And then once they open up, and why is that important? I'm going to go right back into it. And I will tell them that I only work with motivated and coachable sellers. I don't take every listing. For me, it's really important that if I'm going to take my time, then I'm working with someone who's motivated and coachable. So for me, it's really important to understand what your motivation is behind selling the home. I'm just very direct with it.
So as we talk about prospecting, we talked about script practice, we talk about role play and everything else. We also have this feeling of, which we haven't touched yet, call avoidance. We have this feeling of fear.
Yep.
We have this feeling of, and this is the main reason that people don't want to do it. I also believe it's part of not having the confidence to make the call. But let's face it, a lot of people don't want to pick up the phone. I've had 2 agents in the past week says, no, I don't do that. Talk to me about that, the fear, and what I'm getting at really is the mindset.
Can I tell you a quick story?
Sure, please do.
So when I was living in Dallas before I moved to New Jersey, I was one of those agents operating in fear. I wasn't making the calls. I wasn't doing what I needed to do. But you could catch me at every training, on every webinar, at every broker open, eating food. Like I was busy every day, but I was not making the phone calls because I was afraid. There was fear there. My coach had a conversation with me and he said, David, you always talk about how hard of a worker your wife is and how much you respect her. And yet when she's out busting her ass every day, you haven't done one thing to put food on the table for your family. How would that conversation go if you had to tell your wife after watching her work hard all day that you didn't do your part? The minute I heard that, he hit an emotional thing with me, and it made me start taking action because I recognized I was disrespecting my wife by not picking up the phone. And I wear this on my wrist, man, because I believe it. I want it more than I fear it. I want to have success more than I fear picking up the phone. So my why had to be big enough. And when your why is big enough, you'll figure out the how. You'll start making those calls when you have a big enough why. And that's one of the reasons when I coach people, my first conversation is, well, why do you want to make 100,000? Why is that important to you? Just like I talk to a FISBO and I'm digging for motivation, I do that with my clients because when they aren't doing the work, I'm going to say, well, I thought paying for your daughter's college was important to you. And do you understand that because today you didn't make any calls, you're not going to realize that dream for her? Are you okay with that? I can have that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And your why has to be big enough. And one of the things that we can do, and we try to do as coaches, which everyone should do with their FISBOs and expireds, is we go the whys 5, 7 deep, right? And so we can really get to the heart of it and the pain of it, if there is pain of it. There's one other thing I want to add about practicing and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, if I said to an agent on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, how's your listing presentation? How's your scripts and how's your dialogue on for calling FISBOs? If they said to me, well, it's a 7, and they think that's pretty good, right?
Right.
Okay. So what's a 7 out of 10 when you go to school?
Ooh.
It's a 70%, which means it's a C minus.
Yeah.
Right. Are we striving for C minuses?
Right.
No. So that's why we got to be really good at what we're doing, you know? So, and it's really important to do that. And getting back to the other stuff. I mean, it's all got a place, right?
Let me say this though. Those people are a C minus, but they show up and they want to get paid like they're A plus, right? If you want to earn the commission, you got to be able to show your value, which means you got to go in there and know what you're talking about and have conviction and have confidence and know your numbers and know how to overcome objections and ask difficult questions. If you want A plus money, you got to do an A plus performance. A C minus ain't gonna make it.
Yeah. And the other thing is, look, when I was in school, it was many, many years ago. I mean, a lot of the classes were graded on a bell curve, right? So it was a bell curve like this, and in the middle was the C, and this was the A down here and over here. That's what the bell curve is all about, right? Think about this. We talk about the 80-20 rule. So 20% is here, the bell or the A part, and then here's all the 80%. So if you want to be like everybody else, you can do that and not know what you're talking about or not know how to say it or what to say. And here's the other thing is we always got to ask questions. If going to David's sessions on 5 o'clock on Wednesdays and 8:30 on Fridays is going to support your business in ways you cannot imagine.
Agree.
Right? And what I would ask everyone to do is to be okay with being the dumbest person in the room. Why do I say that? I'm not putting anybody down. I'm about to go to an event where I know a lot of people and I don't know a lot of people. But every time I go to an event, I am relaxed and very calm in asking that dumb question because I know damn well there's 70% of that room is afraid to ask that question.
Absolutely.
And after that, I become smarter.
Yes.
That's really important, right?
It is. It really is. I love that you said that. And I love that you brought up questions because most agents say, hey, I have a script book and I have all the scripts and I have the ways to handle the objections. The missing piece is a whole section. When someone says the commission's too high, do you have 5 questions around commission? If they need to think it over, do you have 5 questions? If they have a relative who's a realtor, do you have 5 questions? Because the questions are going to pull out more information that will help you close them. But if you don't know the right questions to ask, if you're not comfortable asking difficult questions because you haven't practiced it, you're going to miss the opportunity. It's in the questions. You're absolutely right, Dave.
Yeah. So you know, I want to expand a little bit before we finish up today. I want to talk about you and your personal mindset, right?
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I notice about you, David, is, you know, your life is full, and I admire what you share on social. I admire your photography and everything that you strive for. And we spoke on Mondays, and talk to me about what Mondays are for you.
So I got introduced to a concept about 3 years ago called the 137. And so essentially how this works is 1 day a week, you take off, no work, a 3-day weekend once a month, and then 7 days off a quarter. And this is when you unplug and you do something for you. So for the past 3+ years, every Monday, I don't work. I drop my daughter off at school. I grab my camera bag and I find a park in New York, New Jersey, or Pennsylvania. I go hiking. I'll start a fire, sit by the fire. I like to find a local brewery, have a beer, and maybe even smoke a cigar. That's kind of my jam. That's what I do. But that's that time for me as an introvert to replenish. And it's also a time for me to focus on gratitude. I send out 5 gratitude messages every Monday. I record a video. Hey, Dave, I really appreciate you having me on the podcast. I learned so much. It's always great to see you. Thanks again for the opportunity to send that video out. And that's something that I do to work on my mindset, work on gratitude, and work on replenishing. That's Mondays.
See that, guys? He works the plan and plans what he's going to do. I love that 137. One day off a week, and then a 3-day weekend once a month.
Once a month.
And 7 days off every quarter.
And I've been doing it. Like I'm going to Kenya. That's going to count as my trip for this quarter. I'll be gone for 2 weeks. However, I am taking that time. Next quarter, I'm going to Monte Carlo. The quarter after that, I'll be in Mexico. I plan these trips out first before I plan anything that has to do with real estate, because I want to control my life. I want to have a life by design. I don't want my business to control my life. And
that's so important to do that. And once you do that, that really frees up what you know you need to do. It also makes your scheduling and planning a lot easier because this is what you've decided to do. You know, I mean, look, we all have a past. We all beat ourselves up about different things. And, you know, depending on where you are in your stage of life, we all have plenty of things to think about and to go backwards. But here's what I want to say to everybody is, you know, the rearview mirror is really small. And that's what your past should be. That windshield is huge. I know we want to learn from the back, from what we passed, but that windshield, it's huge, man. Yeah. So just go out there. There's so much to get. David, I want to thank you so much for being on today. Is there anything that you would say to a stuck agent, a struggling agent, what they need to do today and now?
You need to sit down. Number one, I would write out a list of everything you're grateful for. And when you have those days where you aren't feeling great, you're not feeling motivated, you're feeling a little depressed and discouraged, start reading that list out loud. It's going to change your mindset. But the thing that you really need to do is start investing in you. And there are plenty of great coaches out there, including myself. I'm not saying you have to be with me. You need to be with someone, though, that's going to bring you into their ecosystem where it's not just a transactional relationship. Dave, I got people who took Push 6 years ago and they still are on my calls and we still talk, because I believe that once you join, you're part of my ecosystem. I'm not giving up on you until you give up on you. Like once you say I'm done with real estate, then I, right? However, as long as you're plugged in doing the activities, I'm showing up. And you need to be around someone who's going to encourage you, push you, call you on your BS, hold you accountable, but more importantly, show you the way. This is not real estate simple. It's not easy, but there is a blueprint. You have to have someone who's going to introduce you to that blueprint. I like to be that person for you guys. I like to be your mentor and your coach. If you want to reach out to me, go to my website. I'd love to talk to you.
We have David's information scrolling on the bottom's contact, as well as his Instagram on the screen. You know, it's so important about accountability, man. I mean, my great friend and coach, John Cheplak, says that accountability is the highest form of love that there is.
Absolutely.
And it really is. Just really, really briefly, next week, we've got Omar Subi, who's the director of sales of Align, who is, I mean, this guy, he just knows his stuff. And he's probably, I said to him yesterday, I said, you know what, you are probably the only guy in this world that I know that can multitask, because multitasking is not something you can really do, but he can really do it. I mean, he spends 20% of his time doing sales, and he's got a $20 million business. So that's pretty amazing. Anyway, David, thank you so much. 2 things really quickly. Number one, how do I help you grow your business?
If you could just, any agents you talk to that are struggling with prospecting and lead generation, direct them to go to my website and sign up for the script practice. It costs them nothing except their time. and I will invest and pour into them and help them improve. So just create the awareness and let people know I'm out there and I'm willing to help. I would appreciate that.
DavidRadneyPush.com. Go there, get the information, get the link, and you can get the notifications all the time as I do. Hey man, I want to thank you so much. As always, we got a hat coming to you, man. It's going to be your third one. So I want to thank you so much for coming on. God bless you and your family. Just stay on for a quick second as we go out. Nelson, hit it.